10, the 5, the end zone. Touchdown, Alabama. Perfect end of the season. He wants more right here. Gonna go long and a wide open touchdown to Billingsley. Plenty of time here. Deep for Devontae Smith. In stride again. And
What's up, everybody? Jackson Paradise here. I love Saturdays being spent watching college football. Love talking college football. Alabama fan, obviously. Roll Tide. Been a Bama fan my whole life, I promise, through and through. Love watching football. Love talking football. So that's what we're going to do. So let's hop into it. Obviously, first order of business is going to be what happened Saturday night in Baton Rouge. Alabama versus LSU. Alabama came in 8-0. Really, I think you could tell after what happened last year in this game, these Alabama players wanted to come in, make a statement, really get some revenge. And we're going to talk that game, talk what went into it, and talk what I thought was important. So, obviously, before we get started, some of the bigger news heading into that game early last week was LSU star wide receiver Terrence Marshall Jr. decided to opt out, prepare for the draft, get himself ready. Had to make a big decision, do what's best for him. Alabama heading in this game, obviously coming off a 42-13 win over Auburn in the Iron Bowl. LSU was coming off a 27 loss against 5th-ranked Texas A&M. Obviously, that game wasn't too bad for LSU's offense, just couldn't get anything going. And I thought some of the other big news was Coach O, LSU, decided to start freshman quarterback TJ Finley. And some keys that I thought were important included this Alabama defense getting pressure to Finley early, getting him a little uncomfortable. And then really just some other really important keys I thought was just for this Alabama offense, obviously been so deadly, averaging almost 50 a game, putting up about 530 yards per game. Mac Jones, Najee, Devontae Smith, this offensive line. John Mechie, obviously, it's got playmakers everywhere. I thought it was really important for this Alabama offense to get going early, get started, not mess around, not be cute. I thought they did that. And then this other key that I thought was important was this Alabama defense. Obviously, got gashed against Ole Miss. Not a beautiful game. Gave up 24 in the first half to Georgia. Obviously shut them out in that second half. And ever since then, so it's this new rejuvenated Alabama defense. And I really thought it was important, them coming into this game, just to keep playing with confidence, keep playing fun, play fast, play strong, play quick, let their instincts play. So, the actual game. Obviously, that first drive, Alabama opened up, ended it with a Najee Harris rushing touchdown. Man went off this game, obviously 21 carries, 145 yards, 3 touchdowns. Man's a stud. He'll run you over, jump over you, run past you. And obviously, this Alabama offensive line, not just this game, but this whole season, has been one of the best offensive lines in the nation. No doubt about it. And obviously, they open holes for Najee. They let Mac have time in the pocket. I don't think LSU got a sack this game. If it did, it might have been, Alabama second stringers. But obviously, this Alabama offense, lethal. And they showed it this game too. And then LSU's first drive. Like I said, one of my main keys was this Alabama defense playing quick, playing strong, playing with confidence. And this first drive was not the best, not really probably what they wanted, what Coach Saban wanted. But obviously, LSU had it fourth and short. And Obviously, Christian Harris was able to get in the backfield. I believe it was Christian Harris. Got in the backfield, hit the running back, stopped LSU, 4th and short. Gave Alabama in their offense that ball back. Obviously, Mac Jones did what Mac Jones did. 20 of 28, which is about a 71% completion percentage. Easy 385 yards, 4 touchdown passes. 3 of those went to Devontae Smith, who once again went off against LSU, 8 receptions, 231 yards, and 3 touchdown passes. Obviously had that beautiful one-handed snag in the back of the end zone. Man is arguably the best wide receiver in college football. We mentioned Terrence Marshall Jr. earlier. Those 2 plus Jalen Waddle, you're looking at 3 of the top wide receivers in next year's draft. And obviously, this Alabama team played Alabama football, honestly. And like I said, this Alabama defense, obviously that first drive against LSU wasn't perfect. They weren't perfect at all. Obviously gave up 17 points, I believe. But I really thought they improved, honestly. Late in the second half, I believe Christopher Allen had that strip tackle. Thought it was an interception, but they ruled it a fumble. Obviously, Alabama ended the defensive side with 5 sacks. 2 of those were from Will Anderson. And let me tell you, these freshman players on this Alabama defense, Will Anderson, Malachi Moore, Brian Branch, they don't play like freshmen. Obviously, last week against LSU, Brian Branch and Malachi Moore both had an interception against Bo Nix. And Will Anderson not only had 2 sacks, but he tied the team with 8 total tackles, 4 of those being solo. And he also, to go with his 2 sacks, had 2 tackle for losses. And you got Patrick Surtain and Josh Joby on the outside, cornerbacks, Jordan Battle. In the backfield, Daniel Wright got ejected for targeting, but DeMarco Helms came in and replaced him. When you have this Alabama defense playing fast, playing quick, playing confident, they can be an old Alabama defense, and I think that's what they need to continue the season out and win. Obviously, Alabama went into Baton Rouge, handled business, handled LSU, 55-17. There's not much more you can say. Mac Jones did Mac Jones things. This Alabama offensive line. It was just 650 total yards, 385 of those through the air, 265 rushing. It's not much you can do against an offense that puts up those numbers. You got that 3-headed monster, like I said, Mac Jones, Najee, Devontae Smith. Put those 3 with that Alabama offensive line and this Alabama defense playing with confidence, playing quick. I can see them making a big statement this year, obviously after last year what happened. So obviously, that wasn't the only game Saturday. There were some other big games, so we're going to kind of go over those. Obviously, Coastal Carolina versus BYU. Both undefeated. And what I really thought was for kind of the battle of the second best group of 5 team. Obviously, you have Cincinnati, who's a group of 5, also undefeated, but they're in the top 10. And Coastal Carolina pulled this one out 22-17. That last play, BYU got that pass. Extremely close to a touchdown, but Coastal Carolina was able to hold them out, hold on to that win, and win that game. And shout out to that Coastal Carolina defense held what many people thought early in the season a high consideration for the Heisman, Zach Wilson, BYU quarterback. 19-30, 240 yards, 1 passing touchdown and an interception. And then shout out to Coastal Carolina running back CJ Marble. Had himself a pretty good game. 23 carries, 132 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Obviously, group of 5 teams kind of get overlooked sometimes, but I thought this was a really fun game. College game day was there. And I just thought this was a really big game for both teams. Second game, we're going to talk about Notre Dame Irish versus the Syracuse Orange. Obviously, Notre Dame coming in undefeated, second team ranked behind Bama. Syracuse kind of gave them a scare in the first half, but obviously in that second half kind of pulled away, put up 45. And with that win, they secured their spot in the ACC championship game in 2 weeks against Clemson, which Clemson handled business against Virginia Tech, 45-10. And those were both teams' last kind of rehearsal for their respective teams before playing each other. And the rematch in the ACC championship game, obviously earlier this season, Notre Dame pulled off the upset against Clemson. And I'm just kind of wondering how different this will be with Trevor Lawrence back. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence can't play defense. And then number 4, Ohio State went into East Lansing, beat Michigan State 52-12. I mean, really, Ohio State's season hangs and what happens next week with Michigan. Obviously, Michigan had their game canceled. If Michigan cancels and Ohio State doesn't meet the required games played to be in the Big Ten championship game, I just don't see how Ohio State can be put in, especially if, say, Florida beats Bama in the SEC championship game. Then you're looking at those two. There's just so many scenarios to consider with that. Obviously, just for football sakes, hope Ohio State Michigan can play. Jim Harbaugh probably hoping the game gets canceled. But, well. Number 5, Texas A&M played Auburn. Auburn played them pretty good, honestly. 31-20, not bad. I kind of thought Auburn was going to pull it out there for a second, but A&M keeping their playoff hopes alive. The 5th-ranked team above Florida. There's some weird things that can happen, and if some things happen, A&M can hop their way into the playoffs. And the last game we're going to talk about, Florida versus Tennessee, 31-19 win for the Gators. Kyle Trask threw 4 touchdown passes, albeit his longest touchdown pass was 12 yards. But obviously building his Heisman resume. Really, SEC championship game, you got Mac Jones, Kyle Trask.